We will continue with our lecture for the first session. In the second session, we will have group 3 presentation. As we regularly do in the previous meeting, I will take only about 30 to 40 minutes, but generally it could be slightly about this. And then we may have a break for 10 minutes, and then we will have the group presentations. So one more thing is next week, I think we'll have the holiday, right? And also next week I pose a quiz for you. It's a kind of multiple choice questions, and I will give you maybe one weeks to do it. Okay, just be informed to you. And the quiz will cover chapter 13 and 14. Okay, let me move and jump to the lecture. So I think last week we spent time talking about the derivative, okay, in which we are talking about a kind of financial security, a product that you can use to either to manage the risk, which we call hedging, again the changing in the price of the underlying asset, or we may use to speculate. Okay? And a variety of derivative exists in the financial market, okay, including like the forward contract, the future contract, and the option contract. And in our country, in Cambodia, we only have the forward contract. For the future and the option contract, we do not have it yet. Okay. So if accidentally somebody come to you and then ask you to join money, okay, it's in which for trading in the options and the future contract, please carefully, okay, think about it, because we do not have the regulations or for protection of the investor. Okay, so when you invest in those kind of things in our country, you may have some risk that unexpected could happen. Okay, the lesson I've learned, for example, the GFH. Okay, I know that you see people actually complain, and one of the things is that the implementation of the regulations and infrastructure for the protections of the investor are not yet fully in place in our countries. Okay, that's the derivative market. Today we will moving on by discuss a new thing. We will develop, okay, an economic model, okay, that we can use to explain or to predict the exchange rate. So if you go to the Olympic market and you see at the an exchange counter, a dealer is offering an exchange rate, or you may go to the commercial bank, you see the exchange rate. So the question that come in mind is that what is behind the number? Okay, so if you see that $1 is $1 is 4,000 Cambodian real. Okay, what come into your mind is that why it have to be so, okay? And when tomorrow or why yesterday it's only 3,800, okay? So we're trying to understand behind this number, and what we will do is that we construct an economic model that allow us to explain or to predict, okay, the directions of this chain. It's not a 100% I mean prediction, but it's just one way that we economists try to understand and to have a deep understanding, so we can have uh, solutions or maybe a policy implication for our living. Okay, so let's begin by define what we mean by the economic model. Okay, so economic model is the important tool for economists to explain and predict the behavior, uh, and being able to explain a phenomenon or it's not only improve our understanding, but it's also allow us for better predictions and preparations and the problem solving. Okay, I think you learn some model in microeconomic class, like by demand supply, right? If you go for if you bring your car to the gasoline station and you see the price go up, okay, or if the gasoline price become expensive, then you may think of this kind of model, which could be also used, okay, to somehow give some explanation why the price keep changing. Okay, that could be many things, but demand supply is one thing. Okay, there could be many other driver that can be used to explain, but the demand supply of this gasoline market can help us to understand partly about this price change in the market. Okay, perhaps the OPEC country that trying to collude with each other and trying to reduce supply, or perhaps uh, the increase in the demand. Okay, very rapid increase in the demand of the for the gasoline, for energy. It's also the case, and could be many other things, but perhaps the demand supply is one model. So we can use this to explain. So the next time when we hear the news that the OPEC countries is going to reduce their productions in oil in the next 2 years, we may be able to predict, okay, that the price of this gasoline would become expensive. Okay, so that's how model work. Okay, so in economics we have model because one thing is that it gives us an understanding of some phenomenons, and second, it gives us some power to predict. Okay, and as long as we can predict something, maybe we can prepare it. If we know that the gasoline price is going to increase in the next 2 years, then maybe the best solution is to find the substitute energy source like solar energies or other kind of energy to solve a problem. Okay, or if we know that the gasoline price become expensive because the OPEC country collude and reduce the productions, then we can form petitions and request UN, okay, to do something. So being able to predict something allow us to solve problem and perhaps to prepare ourselves for the unexpected thing. Okay. Okay, so that is economic model. But the model that we will build in this lecture is that we build a model that allow us to predict the exchange rate. Okay, there are many kind of model in the economics. Okay, but now we limit our discussion to the model which explain the exchange rate. So in order to develop this foreign exchange market equilibrium model, we need to learn two more things. First, we will learn about the asset rate of returns, okay, for the currency deposit. Okay. Second, we will learn about the interest parity condition. After we have our understanding of these two things, we can build our foreign market, foreign exchange market model. Okay, so we need to learn these two things. So let's begin by discuss what is the asset rate of return. Remember, we already talked about asset, right? Asset is something that it have a value, and the value can change from time to time. Okay, time to time. For example, if you own a plot of land, okay, plot of land, and if the plot of land that you have its price become expensive, then it's likely that it become more valuable, right? If you sell it out, you can make a good return from owning this land. Okay, so that the asset is actually is saying that its value keep changing, okay, from time to time. Okay? So you may have gold, okay, let's say you have 10 kilogram of gold, okay, and luckily price of gold become expensive, then your asset become more valuable, right? I mean, if you sell, you can make good returns. Or perhaps you have a share of, let's say, Tesla, okay, like Elon Musk, and then in the next, recently become very expensive, okay, as people, I mean, the company is doing well. So luckily, okay, you can sell your share and you can make good return, okay, from holding the share. Okay, similarly for foreign currency, you can see if you have, let's say, the US dollar, okay, let's say you have 100 million, I mean 10 million US dollar, okay, and then the US dollar become, I mean, expensive or appreciate regarding to reals, okay, then when you decide to sell your US dollar, you make good more reals, okay, or you may get good return from holding these US dollar. Okay, so that's what we mean by the asset, and the asset rate of return referring to the percentage. Okay, remember when we talk about rate, we are talking about percentage. Okay, percentage. There is another related concept to the asset rate of return, is that called the real rate of return. Simply to find it, you need to take the asset rate of return and you have to minus the inflation rate. Okay, so in other words, it's just the asset rate of return which we make adjustment for the inflation rate. Okay, you will actually go through with example in the subsequent slide, so you can have better comfortable, okay, with this concept. Moreover, the rate of return, okay, the rate of this asset return can be calculated in different currency. If you calculate the rate of return, the percentage of change in the asset in terms of US dollar, we call that dollar rate of return. You calculate them in terms of Cambodian real, we may call Cambodian real rate of return. It's just the language that used to refer how the rate of return is being calculated. Okay. Remember that when we talk about the asset, okay, people want to have, okay, more asset or invest in their asset if the higher the return that people can get from holding or investing in this asset, it become more valuable. Okay. For example, like Tesla, okay, the electric cars by Elon Musk, okay, as it's become popular, and then people want to, and the company is doing well, everybody want to own the company, okay, want to own a company because it's offering a good return from investing or holding this kind of asset, and nobody want to hold the asset that have low return. Okay, I think it's better to go with example so you can have a better understanding how the rate of return is and how we calculate it and how we interpret the number. Okay. So let's say, suppose you suppose that at the beginning of the year 2021, you buy a share of stock. Okay, maybe let's say Susaya company. Okay, and you pay $100. Okay. If at the beginning next year, okay, in 2022, stock price increased from 100 to 109 per share over the year, and the stock during this period from 2021 to 2022, they give you a dividend of $1. Then you have earned a dollar rate of return from holding this share. So from the year 2021 to 2022. So how do we calculate this rate of return? So at the beginning, you pay money. It's a cost for you. You pay 100. Okay. And then at the end, I mean, next year, the price of this go up to 109. Moreover, you also receive dividend during the year because company provide you the dividend. So how do we calculate the rate of return? So simply, we take the revenue that you get at the end of the period, okay, divided by the cost that you pay at the beginning, and you minus 1 and multiply by 100. So here remember when you sell it, stock price go up to 109. So this is how you get when you sell it. Plus you also get $1 as dividend. In the beginning, you spend 100 to hold, to buy this stock. Okay. So in calculation, we found that the rate of return is 10%. The meaning of this 10% is that for every $1 that you invest in this stock, the stock of this company, Soothsayer, return is 0.1. I mean, in that you earn a profit, okay, of 0.1. In other words, 1 cent. Okay, I mean, in return from investing in this stock of the company, for every $1 that you invest. Okay. So you can see here the rate of return can be positive, it can be negative, depending on whether the price of the asset, okay, will be going up or going down. In this case, you are lucky because the price of the Soothsayer stock went up, okay, it become more valuable. And if we want to calculate the real rate of return, you need to subtract the inflation. So suppose that inflation is 10%, then the real rate of return is that you take the 10% from your investment in the stock of Soothsayer minus inflation, it means 0%. Okay. The meaning is that when you get money by the end of your, I mean, a profit from investing, but if you use that money to purchase good on the market, it's just the same as before you invest in the company, okay? Because price of good on the market increase at the same rate as the rate of your profit that you earn from the investment, okay? And the next example, which is relating to the foreign exchange market, let's say I bought 100 US dollar, and then the price for dollar is that for every $1 I pay 4,000 to my real. In the next 2 days, the US dollar appreciate to $1 4,200. Okay. So in other words, dollar become expensive, become more valuable, appreciate. So we can calculate the Cambodian real rate of return for holding this $1 as follow. So this is the revenue I get when I sell it, because I have $100. For every $1 when I sell, I get 4,200. And if I have $100, I can get 420,000. At the beginning, I pay, the cost is that I pay 400,000. So the calculation is 5%. The meaning that is that for every one real, Cambodian real that I invest in this 100 US dollar, I earn 0.05 Cambodian real back as a profit from investing in this 100 US dollar currency. Okay, so that is the way we calculate the rate of returns and real rate of return. So would you have any question regarding this concept?
Why do we need -1? in the
Yes, can you speak again?
in this formula, why we need to minus 1?
Yes, minus 1 mean we have to find the percentage, the change from the beginning to the end, from the beginning period to the end, okay?
Yes, thank you, sir.
If you don't minus 1, we don't know the percent change comparing to the beginning, okay? It just tells you how many times that the revenue is bigger than the beginning. At the end is bigger than or smaller than at the beginning, okay? But it's not be able to tell, okay? The percentage change, I mean, relating to the beginning, okay? Any other question? If not, we can move to the next slides. The next slide, what we will do is that we will calculate the return for another kind of asset, which is called currency deposit. Okay, currency deposit, you can think of it like a money that you deposit with the bank. Okay, if you deposit the money with the bank, if you own that kind of deposit, you will be able to receive the interest payment, which is paid by the bank to you. The bank pay you, okay, the interest rate. So we consider the currency deposit like deposit rate of return for both the home currency and the foreign currency. Okay, so the rate of return for the home currency deposit is the home currency deposit interest rate. Okay, I will show you in a minute why is that. Okay, so let's say that the dollar interest rate is 10%. Okay, 10%, and then the lender of $1, let's say you decide to put $1 at the bank. Okay, so the bank will pay you 10%, the annual interest rate for keeping money in the bank. End of the year, in total you will get 1.10. One is your original money that you deposit with the bank. $0.10 is the interest rate that you earn from sacrifice your money for putting with the bank for the period of 1 year. Okay, so the beginning you have only $1. Okay, but at the end you get at the end is 1.10. So what is the rate of return for deposit your $1 with the bank? Simply we can take what we receive at the end, right, and divide what we pay at the beginning. So we sacrifice $1 and we get 1.10. Okay, and we multiply by 100. Okay, we can apply the formula which you see in the previous slide, what you have at the ends and what you pay at the beginning. Okay, and multiply by 100, you get 10%, and the 10% is actually the interest rate. Okay, so from now on, the interest rate for the home currency deposit, the interest rate can be considered or get the rate of return, okay, the Cambodian real deposit, okay, at the Canadian bank. Okay. So interest rate in this way is a rate of return. I mean, the deposit interest rate can be considered like a rate of return for holding the deposit. The more the higher the interest rate for deposit is, the more value is. Okay? And the more you want to deposit your money, okay, with the bank, right? So that is the rate of return for the home currency deposit. In this case, US dollar. You consider US dollar like your home currency, okay? The second thing is what if we decide to deposit the the foreign currency. Okay, and then we can try to calculate the rate of return for the foreign currency deposit measure in the home currency. Okay, so how would we do it? Okay, so suppose that suppose you have the euro. You have €1. Okay, at the beginning you have €1. Okay, you have €1, and you decide to deposit with the bank. Okay, so how could we calculate the rate of return for your deposit in euro over the period of 1 year? So let's say the exchange rate is that current right now is $1, €1. Okay, so if you have $1, then you can actually you can buy the euro. Okay, if you use $1, you can buy €1. You can get €1, and you can use this euro to deposit. Okay, so let's say interest rate for the euro is 10%, and also the interest rate for the US is 10%. Okay, so which one? So now you have $1. Okay, and you have two choice. You can deposit this $1 with you can deposit in your home currency in US dollar, but you also can convert them into current euro and deposit in euro. So which one is the best for you? Given that we know the interest rate for the US dollar is 10%, and the interest rate for euro is also 10%. So which one is the best choice? So the answer is that it's depending on the rate of return from each currency. If we could know when we decide to deposit in US dollar, what will be the rate of return? How many percent? Okay. And also if we could know the rate of return for deposit in euro, okay, what is the percentage of the rate of return? We can compare, okay, and then we can decide which one is best for us. Normally we want to invest in or deposit in the one that give us the high rate of return. Okay, but remember, if you want to compare this, your deposit in euro and US dollar, you need to have the same currency. Okay, they have the 10% the same rate, but one is that 10% measured in euro, the other is 10% measures in dollar. So you cannot compare, and you have to convert them, okay, into the same currency. Otherwise, you cannot compare. Okay, and we need to compare because we need to know which one is bigger, whether the return from deposit in dollar is bigger than the return in euro or not. Okay, and this is the process that you can do. So first, we take our $1 that we have. Okay, so we use this $1 to buy euro. Because the exchange rate is $1, €1, we can get €1. Okay, so in terms of euro, it means we spend $1. Okay, the general cost for us is $1. And then we take this €1, we deposit with the bank in the European Union, and then we earn interest rate of 10%. So at the end of the year, in total, when we put €1 at the bank, we get €1.10, because interest rate on this euro is 10%. Okay, but we have to convert them into dollar because we need to calculate, okay, the rate of return in the US dollar in the home currency. Okay, we know that the interest rate for US dollar deposit, the home currency is 10%. Okay, and so we have to convert the return in euro deposit into US dollar. So how do we do that? So we can take this amount, the total amount of euro that we get when we deposit in euro at the bank after 1 year, and we convert them into dollar. So we need another exchange rate because after 1 year, at the beginning exchange rate is $1, €1, but after 1 year, okay, we don't know. So exchange rate can change. So we can say, we can call this exchange become $1.2 per euro. In other words, the euro become expensive, right? At the beginning, we pay only $1, we can get €1, but now we have to pay as much as $1.02 to get €1. So euro become expensive or appreciate. Okay. So when we convert this revenue from deposit in euro into US dollar at the expected exchange rate, we get 1.12 US dollar. Okay. So now at the beginning we pay $1, the cost, and at the end we get 1.12 US dollar. So we can calculate the dollar rate of return. Okay. So we can apply our formula and come up with 12.2%. Okay. So now you have the answer, which one is best for you. So we learned that the rate of return for the US dollar is 10%, right? And the return for deposit in euro is 12.2%. In this case, it's obvious that we should deposit in euro, okay? Because you can see that the one thing, even they have the same interest rate, but at the end of the year, the euro appreciate. It become more valuable. That's why you earn a higher rate of return from deposit in euro. Okay, so this is the way we can come up in order to compare whether we should deposit in home currency, the US dollar, or the foreign currency, the euro, by comparing the rate of return. But you can see that the calculation is actually a lot of complicating things from step 1 to 7. But we have a shortcut. Okay, the shortcut is quite easy. So easily you can take the interest rate that you earn on euro, which is 10%, right? Plus the change in the exchange rate. So this is exchange rate at the beginning of the years, and this one is the exchange rate at the end. Okay, because we don't know what will be exchange rate at the end of the year, we call it expected. We have the word expected. Okay, so it is the percentage change. So you can see this is the exchange rate at the end, this is exchange rate at the beginning, and divide by here. We can see that the rate of return for the euro, the foreign currency deposit, is 12%. So we can get the answer very quickly. Okay. So that is the rule. You have to note that this formula shortcut work only when the exchange rate actually change very little. I mean, not so like percentage. Here the percentage change in the currency, the euro is only 2%. Okay, so that's why the formula work. Okay, you can see that the shortcut give you 12%, the actual give you 12.2%. It's almost the same. Okay, so any question regarding the calculation of the rate of return for home currency deposit and the foreign currency deposit? Anything we need verification? That's good. Which mean, right? Which mean? Good evening. Hello.
Good evening, Mike.
Any question regarding this? The way we calculate the rate of return for the home currency deposit and the foreign currency deposit?
So I'm not clear.
Yes. Which one?
With the next slide, I see the previous slide.
Previous slide.
Yes, here like when the revenue after 1 year.
Yes.
Like I didn't catch up when you calculate and see 1.2 euro.
1.2 euro. 1.2 euro is just the information we have. Okay. We have at the end of the year. It's not a calculation. Okay. what we know is that if you deposit in euro, the bank will pay you 10% for over the year for 1 year. Okay, and moreover, we need to convert that euro into US dollar, and we don't know what would be exchange rate, but we know that after 1 year, the exchange rate will become 1 euro equaling 1.02 US dollar. In other words, to buy 1 euro, you need to pay 1.02 US dollar. Okay, so 1.02 US dollar is the exchange rate that we know. Okay, at the end of the year. Which mean, I don't know if I answered your question properly.
Just like because my internet, I don't know whether it is my internet connection or yours, but not stable, so I couldn't clear. I didn't understand it clearly, so yes.
Okay,
but
so the
like
basic thing that we the goal that we try to do is that we want to find rate of deposit in the home currency and the rate of return for the deposit in foreign currency. Which one is best for us? Suppose we are giving $1 and we have choice. Either we can deposit in US dollar at the bank and we gain 10%, or we should convert this $1 into euro and then deposit this euro at the bank, okay? Knowing that the interest rate for euro is 10% euro deposit, okay, and the exchange rate that we will get, okay, in the future is 1 euro equaling $1.02. Okay, so we try to do that. We try to compare the rate of return on which kind of deposit is best for us. Normally, the one that gives us higher rate of return is the one that we should deposit in. Min? Hello?
Yes, like
so
yes,
that's the idea. Yeah, the calculation requires a lot of things, but the basic idea is just to find the rate of return for deposit in each currency and compare it. So which one is best for us? Okay. So this is just a recap of this formula. So we can compare. You can see here. This is the interest rate, right, for the home currency deposit. So which we can call it the rate of return for home currency deposit, or we can call interest rate. And this one in the bracket, as you can see, it is the shortcut formula here. Okay, the shortcut formula that we have in this. Okay, so this is the shortcut formula, and it's tell us the way to calculate the rate of return for the foreign currency deposit. Okay, so the equation 14.1 is just only comparing or the difference between the return you get from home currency deposit with the foreign currency deposit. Okay, so if this equation is positive, okay, if this one is positive, so in other words, let's say return for the home currency is 10%, like in our example, and the return for the euro deposit is 12%. So we know that it is negative, right? And in other words, the return from deposit in euro is bigger than the return for deposit in US dollar, the home currency, and we should deposit in euro. Okay, if it is negative, it is positive, it means that the return for the dollar is higher than or bigger than the return for the euro deposit, and we should deposit in US dollar, home currency. Okay, so this is just the formula you can use in order to compare. Okay, so the next day you go to the ABA bank and you decide to deposit. Okay, you may take out the interest rate on the board. Okay, you see related to another concept which we call the interest parity condition, which is called the basic equilibrium condition. Okay. So, but before I talk about the interest parity conditions, I think it's important to talk a little bit what we mean by equilibrium. Okay, because in economics we like to talk about equilibrium, right? You see that word many times since you study in year 2. Okay, in the micro and macroeconomic, you see the word equilibrium. Okay, so equilibrium is actually is a condition in which everything is stable. It means that it's come to a point which it's stable, it stay there. Okay, so economists like to talk about the equilibrium because it allows economists to do the predictions. Okay, you can imagine, for example, when you throw a ball on the floor, right? The ball keeps bouncing up and down, right? But you know that finally, when everything is settled down, the ball should be on the floor. Okay? That is, the ball is at equilibrium. So we can predict that even it may be away from the equilibrium, it will come back there. When you learn the microeconomics, you learn about the demand supply. You see when the demand is bigger or smaller than supply, then there's some adjustment toward equilibrium, private chain. Okay, and finally you will have go back to equilibrium where the demand supply equal, and it stay there. If it's not, it will come back to that point. That's what we mean. Can predict that when thing is not in equilibrium, okay, it always going back to the equilibrium. That's the idea why economists like to study the equilibrium. Okay, so similarly, we will learn another basic equilibrium we call the interest parity condition. This is an equilibrium that happens when the return, okay, on deposit of any two currency are equal. So the thing that we compare previously, right? You see that one is bigger than a small or smaller than the other, but that will not last longer because as people found that they are different. For example, in the example we calculated earlier, we see that it's better to invest in by deposit in euro, right? So people start to buy euro and deposit. That will make euro become expensive or appreciated, and that will make the return from deposit in euro smaller. So things will turn to move to equalize between this. Okay, as people try to we call the interest parity condition. It makes the return that you get from any currency are the same. So the equilibrium is a long run condition. Okay, so after you make all the adjustment, you will come to the case where the return from deposit in US dollar, the home currency, are the same as the return, the rate of return that you get from the foreign currency deposit. If it's not, you can ask me, okay, to try to exploit the profit from the difference. And the behavior that you try to exploit will bring them to the equilibrium. Okay. And any question by this slides? Hello, Sam Nang. Good evening, Sam Nang. Okay. Maybe Sam Nang is not there. Hello, good evening, Moni and Moni. Hello, Winnie, are you there?
Yes, like yes.
Yes. Any question regarding this basic idea of the equilibrium condition, the interest parity condition here?
Teacher, can you clarify on the IPC again, the parity condition again?
The interest parity condition is an equilibrium condition that argue that uh, after the long adjustment, okay, after the working hours of the transaction in the people who try to exploit the benefit from the difference in return from the home currency deposit and the foreign currency deposit, the rate of return on home currency deposit will equaling to the rate of return from the foreign currency deposit. Okay. When they are equal, we call that the interest parity condition. Okay. It means that at that state, the interest rate you can earn from deposit in the home currency and the foreign currency are the same. Okay, you don't earn more or less than the others. Okay, if it's not yet equal, it means that you don't yet arrive at the interest parity condition. Okay, Moni, I don't know if I answer your questions. Or is the explanation helpful for you?
Yes, like thank you. It's clear enough.
So it's a kind of conditions, okay, condition that say they must equal after the long adjustment. Okay. So why that happen? I think that's the question you should ask. Okay. So why they have to be equal? What if it does not? Okay. So the basic explanation is that let's say if it's not, okay, let's say this one is 10% and the return for euro is 12%. So it's not equal, right? And it's not satisfy the interest parity condition. So why it would be equal? If we have that kind of thing that they are not equal, if you the investor, okay, you should try to deposit in euro, okay, right? Because you can earn 12%. If you deposit in dollar, you can earn only 10%. So what would you do with that? You will try to buy the euro, okay? You try to buy euro, then the price of euro would going up or become expensive if everybody want to buy euro. Why? Because they need to have euro to deposit. Okay, as euro become expensive, then it will cost you more to buy the euro. Okay, so in other words, you have to invest more. I mean, you pay more in order to deposit in euro. Then the return will slightly go down a little bit. Okay, and go down a little bit until they equalize. Okay? So the interest parity condition is a long-term situation when things work out, okay, to equal. In practice, it may not, okay, as people try to exploit, it may not exactly equal, but it may turn to move toward equalize, okay, but not exactly equal. But the difference is much smaller. Okay. For example, you can think the easy way to compare. Let's say you found that urine is in need and it become very expensive, and you can earn a lot of from money. So people know that they will follow you. Okay, you go to buy, you buy a compost, you pay a lower price, right? Because you buy cheap, and you bring to Phnom Penh and you sell high price, you make good return. As people try to buy urine in compost, price of urine and compost become expensive. Okay, and then when you bring it to sell in Phnom Penh, okay, as there are many sellers try to sell, price will go down. Okay, it turns to equalize until you don't earn any profit. Okay, because price will be the same in compost and in the city. Suppose there's no transportation cost. Okay. So that is the idea of the equilibrium. Okay. This is the example I can show you. Okay. So let's say clarify you. Okay. This clarify you what happened when people try to exploit the rate of return when they are today now. Okay, so you see the word today, and then I have the interest rate for euro. It remains the same, don't change any at all. Okay, and the exchange rate in the future is here. Okay, so you can see when the euro become here, euro become expensive, right? If you move up here 1 euro is only $1, but here 1 euro is 1.07 US dollar. So euro become expensive or appreciate. Okay. If you move down here, it means that the euro become cheaper or depreciate. Okay. So let's move down here. So you see as the euro depreciate, you can see this is percentage change in the exchange rate, right? From the beginning to the end of the year. So we see that the percentage change growing bigger. Okay. In other words, the euro become more valuable because you can buy the euro at cheaper price. You can buy things at much cheaper price. It's good for you to make good return. The more you can buy things at cheaper price, right? Okay. And the last column here is the expected rate of return, the return for foreign currency deposit. You have to add with the euro interest rate and this chain. You take these two columns, you add together, you can have this. Okay. So you can see as the euro depreciate, okay, euro depreciate on the market right now, the more you can buy euro at much cheaper price today, okay, the more likely that you will have a good bigger rate of return from deposit in euro. Okay. So appreciation of the home currency today, right, the expected return of foreign currency measure in home currency because we can buy foreign currency at lower price. Okay. In other words, the cheaper we can buy foreign currency, okay, the more likely we can make a good return from deposit in foreign currency. The more we have to buy foreign currency at higher price, at expensive price, the less likely that we get any good return from deposit in foreign currency. So we can draw this diagram as you can see here. So I put this is the exchange rate today, okay, on the market right now, and this is the rate of return. So you can see if I move up here, it means that the euro become expensive or appreciate. For example, like here, I have to pay 1.07 US dollar to buy 1 euro. By here, I would pay only $1 to buy 1 euro, so it's much cheaper. So when we buy the euro and we pay only $1, the rate of return is 10%. If we invest in euro deposit, if we buy the euro and we pay $1.07 for 1 euro, our rate of return for deposit in euro is only about 3.1%. Okay, because we have to buy euro at expensive price, so it's not a good investment. Okay, so this curve which tells you about the return you can get from the deposit in the euro foreign currency would have a negative slope with the current price of euro. Okay? Current price euro. Any question regarding this relationship between the current exchange rate and the return that you can get from deposit in foreign currency? Okay. The key message is that if you could buy the foreign currency at cheaper price, you pay less dollar. Okay. So it's more likely that you will be able to get a good return. Okay, if you have to buy the foreign currency now and you pay at higher price, then you don't actually make any good return. Any questions? Lolly, how are you there? Okay, maybe it's not there. Hello, Dalia. Good evening.
Good evening, like
Any
yes,
question regarding this? Yeah.
no, like I got it.
Okay. So I think we have done. So let me move to the next slide. So the next slide is the model that we try to build. Okay. So in this model, okay, which we call the model for the exchange rate, foreign exchange market model. So in here I put the exchange rate on the vertical axis here. Okay. You can see when I move up here. Okay. It means that the foreign currency become expensive or bridge it. Okay? The euro become expensive. I have to pay more US dollar in order to just buy 1 euro. Okay, so up here. So this is the now, okay, or exchange rate on the market right now, okay, or today. We can call the current exchange rate. And on the horizontal axis here, I put the rate of return, okay, from the home currency deposit and the foreign currency deposit, okay. They both measure in percentage and calculate in US dollar, okay. And here I have the green line here. The green line here is the rate of return that I get from deposit in euro, in foreign currency. Okay, and it sloped down. It sloped down, it means that when the euro become cheaper, okay, then I can get higher return from deposit in euro. Okay. When the euro is expensive, then I will get less smaller rate of return from deposit in euro. Because I have to buy euro at higher price. It means that it does change because interest rate that you can earn on US dollar on home currency, it does not depending on the whether the exchange rate between euro and dollar change. Okay, it's fixed there. Okay, it's set by the bank. Okay, on your home currency. That's why I draw it vertical like this. Okay, and we can see the two curve cut at this point. So this point is called the IPC, or the interest parity condition. So it happens when the rate of return from the home currency and the foreign currency deposit are the same. So let's say this is 10%. Okay, so if that is a 10%, it's the equilibrium. You have an exchange rate E1, and that is the exchange rate that makes sure the return from home currency deposit are the same as the return from foreign currency deposit. Okay, and that is the exchange rate. Exchange rate E1 is the exchange rate that certify the IPC. Okay, so what if it's not? Okay, seeing for example at 0.2. Okay, so let's sing at 0.2. So at 0.2, you can see if we, what is the rate of return? The exchange rate is E2, right? Exchange rate is E2. what is the rate of return for deposit in foreign currency? You can drop down here. So let's say it's 5%. Okay. But what is the rate of return for the deposit in home currency US dollar? It's 10%. Right? So in other words, you can earn more by deposit in home currency rather than at the deposit in foreign currency. So what will you do? Because you want to buy more dollar, okay? Because you can earn 10%. So people start to buy more dollar, okay? And they don't need euro. They start to sell euro. Euro would becoming cheaper, so euro would depreciate, okay? And you will move back to 0.1, okay? As euro depreciate. Let's think of 0.3, okay? At 0.3, the rate of return, the exchange rate is E3. Okay. And the return for the foreign currency deposit at E3 is, let's say, 15%. Okay. But the return for the home currency deposit at exchange at E3 is only 10%. So people will try to buy the euro, right? Because you can earn very good return, 15%. Then euro will start to appreciate. Okay. As euro start to appreciate, then the rate of return on euro would start to decrease. Okay, start to decrease because you have to buy euro at expensive price, and you will move back to 0.1, which is the equilibrium. So this is the our foreign exchange market model. Okay, any question regarding this point? Yeah. Okay. So we can use this to have predictions about what will happen in the exchange rate. Okay. So this is our prediction when the let's say, okay, when the government decide to increase the, maybe government want people to save more money. It say that we are going to increase the interest rate for people to deposit money at the bank. Okay, so we want to see what happened to the exchange rate. So let's say that at the beginning, the exchange rate is 10%, the interest rate is 10%, right? But the government say, no, I want to encourage my people to save more money, okay? So I would encourage all the bank increases to 15%, okay? So what will happen to the exchange rate between the US dollar and the euro? Okay, so you can see as the interest rate increase, okay, the home currency interest rate decrease, the line for the rate of return on the home currency shift to the right. Okay. Okay. You see at the previous at 0.1 before, the rate of return for home currency deposit is 15%, and the rate of return for the foreign currency deposit is only 10%. Okay, so people would like to deposit in US dollar. Okay, so dollar will become expensive and euro would become cheaper. So we're moving to 0.2. Okay, so if we hear an announcement like NBC is going to increase deposit interest rate to motivate people to save money, then we can predict that our currency would appreciate. The real would appreciate against US dollar. Okay, or perhaps we know that the NBC decide to reduce the deposit interest, or they are going to impose tax on deposit. Okay, people who earn interest rate from deposit money with the bank will have to pay higher tax. In this case, we know that the line would shift to the left, right? And we can predict. If we hear, we open the newspaper and we hear that NBC is going to increase tax on interest rate earned from deposit at the bank, we know that our currency is going to depreciate, okay, relating to US dollar. Our real will become cheaper and dollar will become more expensive. Okay, so this is our predictions that we can have for this predictions, okay, for this scenario. And this is the prediction when we hear, let's say that the euro, the European Central Bank, the foreign bank in another country will raise the interest rate deposit for the people. So we see, remember that this line, this curve, is the return for the foreign currency deposit. Now it's going higher because the bank in the foreign country increase interest rate, okay, to motivate people to save money, okay. So in this case, we know that the exchange rate, the euro, okay, we can have predictions that would going exchange rate will move from E1 to E2. In other words, the euro would become more expensive, more valuable, and the dollar become depreciate or cheaper, because as people know that they can earn higher by deposit in euro, people want to buy euro, okay, rather than the US dollar, okay, and then euro will appreciate, okay, or become expensive. So is that our predictions? Okay. Another thing that also quite interesting is this, the expected here, okay. You can note here that we have in the calculation of the exchange rate, we have an exchange rate in the future, which we call exchange rate at the end of the year, okay. We call expected exchange rate. This is what we expect to have, okay. So expectation can change, okay. People can form an expectations and they may behave according to what they expect in their mind, okay. If they believe that euro is going to have crisis, COVID-19 crisis, it means it's not a good sign, okay. And nobody want to visit European Union, and they don't need euro, okay. So in this case, we know that the rate of return for the euro would decline and euro would depreciate. So expectation also a key that we can use in order to predict, okay, the currency of any countries, okay, by using our model. So I think that's all for the lecture today. Sorry for taking longer time, 1 hours. Any question regarding this model and how we use it to predict? Okay. So the key message is that rate of return, okay, for currency deposit become the key predictor. I mean the driver predictor that can be used to predict the exchange rate. Okay. If you hear the announcement that people are making good returns by invest in, let's say, Thai baht, we can predict that Thai baht currency would appreciate. If we learn that the Thai central bank decide to reduce the deposit interest rate or tax interest rate, okay, we know that the Thai currency is going to appreciate. Okay, so using our model, so the rate of return become the key predictor that can be used to predict the exchange rate you see at Olympic market or at the bank. Any question, please? Hello, good evening, Sitikun, Tuj Sitikun. Hello. No answer, no response. Okay, and Chua Li Hieng. Li Hieng, right?
Yeah, teacher.
Li Hieng, any question regarding this model and how we can use it to predict the exchange rate?
No, yeah,
Not
no.
yet. So let's say, for example, I have a question for you. Let's say the Chinese government decide that they make an announcement that they're going to offer high interest rate for people who want to deposit in the money yuan, okay, in their countries. They need more saving, okay. So what can we predict about the value or price of Chinese yuan? Is it going to appreciate or depreciate?
So can I get the scenario again?
Suppose you wake up in the morning, okay, and you read the newspaper and it say that Chinese government announced that you're going to increase interest rate on people who want to deposit money, okay, in China, okay. So what would you think will happen to the Chinese currency, the yuan? Relating to other currency like US dollar, would the yuan become expensive or it would be cheaper? Would it appreciate or depreciate? Knowing that. Yeah.
I think the value of Chinese yuan
What would you do if you know that? What would you do?
I would save more in the bank, teacher.
I know you say modeling, but where would you deposit the money? You would deposit in Chinese yuan or in other currency if you know that you are able to earn a good interest rate by deposit in Chinese yuan?
Definitely in Chinese yuan.
Yes, for sure, right? You need yuan. So if you have Khmer Rio, you have US dollar, you use it to buy yuan, right? You go to Olympic market, please change me. I need yuan. Okay, because I need to bring this yuan to put at the bank to earn interest rate. So people want to buy yuan. Yuan would become expensive or appreciate. Okay. So that's how we can predict the exchange rate using the rate of return as a key, as the predictor. Okay. Any other questions? Expectation are the same. Okay. If you hear the news that the COVID-19 is being spread in Bangkok again, okay, for example, maybe it's not a good time for you to visit Bangkok, right? So you don't need to convert your currency into Thai baht. You don't want to buy Thai baht. You want to invest there. You don't need to buy Thai baht. So Thai baht will depreciate because nobody need it, okay? They don't need to buy it, okay? They don't demand for the Thai baht currency. So expectation or the news can convert, okay? By using our model, we can predict that behavior. We can what likely to happen to the exchange rate of one currency with regarding to other currency. Okay. That's time. Maybe you need more time to review this lecture again, and maybe you still have questions. You can ask me next when we meet next time. But now let's have a break for 10 minutes. So I think we will come back at 6:55, right? And then we have our group presentation.